Welcome back, so happy to see you again, and today's video is probably the most important one I've ever done so far, because if both you and I are going to talk about productivity for the next 20 plus years, we have to be absolutely clear what we mean by productivity. And during my 3.5 years of obsessing over that topic, I've seen so many different definitions of that word it's not even funny anymore. I guess you think so too. So in today's video, I'll do my absolute best to walk you through my thought process that led me to the best definition I could possibly find, and at the end of this video gives you some high-level strategies to be more productive in what you do, and you're the absolute best, you deserve the absolute best information. So here we go. If we just search on Google, we find two definitions of being productive. One's about producing more in general, and the other is specifically about the ratio between what we put in and what we get out. And for a long time I was quite confused about this. Is hustle culture right all along, that it's all about doing more and more and more? Or is the ratio between input and output the only thing that matters? Something I personally believe for a very long time. The confusion became worse when I looked up the most productive person alive and found this guy who supposedly ran a 7-figure business by only working fewer than 20 minutes a day. He's also written many books about productivity and how to do more with less. And don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly impressed with what Aria's done, and I highly recommend these books. But I still think about the top billionaires and celebrities who by all means have accomplished the most and have millions of people and systems under them. Shouldn't they by all standards be the most productive? Then I came across Alex Hormozi, $120 million entrepreneur, fast-growing YouTuber, top podcaster, best-selling author, and an incredibly muscular and intelligent 32-year-old man who has nothing to sell us, by the way. Given his age and accomplishment, I wanted to figure out how he looked at productivity. And in one of his videos, he defines productivity as getting more done per unit of time. And in another podcast, he also defines what even work is, and I'll let him speak for himself.
Work equals outputs. Outputs equal volume times leverage. Number of times you do something times how much you get out of each time you do it.
When I heard all of this, everything started to click. Remember the previous two definitions of productivity, one being the total amount and one being the ratio? By introducing two things, time and leverage, we can both accomplish the most, doing more with less, and avoid burnout at the same time. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's say that you want today to be the most productive day ever. The most obviously would just be to just fill out that day and do not anything else, waking from midnight to midnight, doing whatever you want to do. Now extend this to a productive week, and it becomes clear that we need to have it more sustainable now with sleep, food, exercise, all that. How about a productive month, a productive year, a productive 10 years, a productive 20 years? Especially when we think years ahead, our priorities start to change. Instead of thinking, I need to get this much money or accomplish all these goals every month, we can actually be more patient and build empires. Instead of making a desperate sale or even scamming people, we can be non-needy and make something inherently valuable that will last and ultimately be the greatest of all time. We can also go back to smaller units of time, productive hours, productive minutes, productive seconds, and have different priorities there regarding being present and fully attending to the task and all that stuff. Even with all this time, we as individuals can only do so much. At some point we need more and more leverage, more output for what we put in, whether it's in form of people, money, software, videos like these, and text. And as we control this growing wave of what we have accomplished, it's more important for us to make the right decision rather than actually working day to day. And my point is, by simply stating get more done per unit of time, we can play around with time and think bigger outside of ourselves. I'm a very big fan of thinking in decades because it opens up so much possibilities and reduce our daily worries because it's going to work out in the end. Plus all the leverage we opened up. So have we done it? Have we come down to a final definition of productivity after all these years, getting more done per unit of time? Not quite. There was one thing that needed to be changed in order to make sense for both of us. You probably hear all this talk of getting more done, getting things done, accomplish more, and then think, more of what? Are we talking about more money, more happiness, more quality, more status, more love, more views? What exactly is that more? Then it struck me yesterday as I was going for a walk that it could apply to absolutely anything. It does not need to be all about money and fame, but also to other things. How many walks we do in a day, how many deep conversations we do per week, how many hours spent in silence and bliss. And as soon as we want more of this, productivity comes into play here. And when I realized it, honestly felt somewhat demoralizing because it felt everything I had believed and thought was all on quicksand and rapidly crashing down. Is productivity even meaningful as an industry nowadays? Because it's basically applied to everything from fitness to spreadsheets. It was like, I really love productivity, but that doesn't really mean anything other than be better at what you do. So in reality, I don't know what I'm talking about and can call myself an imposter straight away. I'm sorry. As I was deep into these fears that came all over me, I got an epiphany. I thought maybe all of this is his biggest strength. Instead of all the money and status, it's all about us representing our biggest hopes and wants. No matter who we are and what we do, we can all benefit from productivity because it's directly applicable to what we want right now. So then I came up with the most solid definition of productivity I've ever seen, or actually changed a few words from the previous one. Productivity is getting more of what you want per unit of time. That to me encapsulated everything. Now it's not all about money, but it could be anything you want. And getting more of it per unit of time. This is not only reflect to quantity, but also to quality. How much you like something, how much you think something is desirable or beautiful in that sense. So whoever you are, productivity should be in your best interest since everybody wants something and we can get more of it. But then you might ask, okay, but who is the most productive person then? And this is when we from now on has to say productive in terms of fill in the blank. The most productive person in terms of money is Bernard Arnault at the moment. The most productive person in terms of basketball was Michael Jordan. The most productive person in terms of YouTube subscribers is Mr. Beast. So look at what you and I have done now. We have taken the vague concept of productivity into something that can be applied to everyone, depending on what we are optimizing for. And with this abstract and somewhat vague reality, I will now attempt to answer in the most general way possible the question of today's video: how to actually be productive. And as you've probably seen now, we cannot discuss how to be more productive without discussing what we want. I think it's why people or experts around the world speak so fondly about goals, plans, visions, purpose, because it is an answer to that question. If we know what we want, it becomes much easier to get there rather than dreaming about it and hope for luck. And the more we know what we want, the more we know what's important for us. A lot of discussions in the productivity world is about how to get the right things done. But the words right and important comes down once again to what do we want? But at some point we need to do something in order for it to happen. We cannot just think about our goals all the time and be sane at the same time. And here we have two options depending on what we want to be productive for. Either we know what to do and just need to repeat it to become better, or we don't know what to do and need to test or try it out a lot. In the first option, we've got sports, music, other creative arts, competitions, or even academia to some extent. Here the rules are set. We have to do this much to become better. And now it's all about practice, practice, practice for the next 20 plus years. And for the second option, we've got business, entrepreneurship, and even creative careers like YouTube. Here the rules are not clear at all. And the only way to be better is to test out, see what's working, both in the short term and long term, and repeat. So to be productive in any given field, all we need to do is know what we want and then repeat the most necessary actions over and over and over and over again for many years in order to become so good that we get this leverage and ultimately get what we want. Or as Alex Hormozi puts it,
Better is leverage. Better gets you more for what you put in.
So being productive is actually very simple, but as both you and I know, it's not easy because we get so distracted because of many things. A lot of them has to do with fear actually. We don't want to confront reality, but instead do things to feel productive instead of actually being productive. And I'll cover this fake productivity and what to do about it in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. I want to end this video by telling you a real example of this, how I try to be the most productive possible given where I'm at, and I think you'll find value out of hearing this too. So my highest priority right now is you. Yes, I mean it. I know that as long as our special connection becomes more and more solid and you get more and more value from me every time, all the personal motivations like money, love, status, fame, whatever, will take care of themselves. What I want therefore is to you to feel seen and appreciated, and also give you everything I know about productivity so you can get more what you want. Be very happy whenever you want to and live the best life possible. But I also know that because I've only done this for 6 months now, I'm still not that good yet. So I repeat the same action, a new video every day, to see how I can be better for you and improve from your feedback. In terms of quantity, I think I'm already maxed out, no need to do more than 1 video a day. In terms of quality, I'm not going for the highest production value at the moment, like fancy editing, fancy cameras and all that stuff, since I think both you and I benefit from having it more personal, more relatable, more like a conversation between us. When I think of quality, I think of how appreciated you are, how much aha moments you get from the topics covered here, and also how clear and good the suggested action steps are that you can incorporate today if you want. And to be able to do this sustainably, I prioritize health, exercise, and most of all sleep, plus my day job to keep me afloat during these early years. I also think long term and believe that both you and I will see all this very big in at least 10 plus years. After all, 90% of all success is showing up and delivering very good stuff consistently, because both reputation, trust, and wealth takes time to build, no matter how good we are. We need to prove that we can be trusted, and then people can trust us. Nothing has made me so peaceful as having this long-term perspective actually. So this is productivity for me, but it might or should be different for you. It's all about what we want after all, and I'm interested to see in the comments what you thought about this and how you stay productive. Is it as liberating for you too, that you know what productivity is now and how to actually do about it? Until then, thank you so much for sticking around for this very important video, and most of all, whether you call yourself productive or not, always remember every single evening that you're the most amazing human being alive.